All right, cool. We're the next talk. My name's Timothy Mulrooney. I'm here with Mike Wallace from North Carolina Central University. We're going to talk about a project that we're doing with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. It's entitled The Interactive Mapping of the NCDOT Research Program Using Experience Builder. So I'll talk about an introduction to the program and our project, and I'll kind of let Mike take off with everything else, all the technical things on it. But pretty much, if you don't know, the NCDOT research program works with colleges, universities, other organizations to promote and fund research deemed important for NCDOT-related work. It transcends engineering, environmental science, mapping, modeling, algorithm design, administration, management, and other things. Our department is environmental, earth, and geospatial sciences. So we've got the earth science component, we've got some environmental science, and then me and another faculty member are the geospatial science, the GIS people. And so a lot of our work with prior projects and this project has been focused on the mapping and the geospatial analysis component of it. Since 1997, they've funded 20 to 30 research grants a year throughout the state and even out-of-state universities. Our particular department is Environmental Earth Geospatial Sciences. We call it the DEGS. It was kind of the marrying of geography and environmental science in about 2005. I've been there since 2010. And so we've kind of have a diversified staff. We're actually looking for a new drone instructor that's been posted recently. So if you know anyone who wants to teach drone and climatology, we'll be looking for a new staff member to kind of do some forays into that arena. But we focus on natural hazards, remote sensing, health impacts, with a focus on service, underrepresented and marginalized populations. And we provide students with analytical and methodological skills to understand, derive explanations for statistical irregularities. So I teach the geostatistics class, our GIS classes, and we've done some things with sustainable food systems, and we're looking to do a crime mapping class as well, where we can apply GIS with our criminal justice partners across campus. And a large focus of us is on internships, practical experiences through the NCDOT Research Grant Program, summer internships that lead to full-time careers. So our major goal and success in our department is if students can get full-time jobs doing things related to environmental science, earth science, GIS, anything related to that. It's kind of our end goal because there's a lot of competition in the Research Triangle with Duke, UNC, NC State, and we're really trying to make our place in there, especially, I work hard with the GIS. These are some of the projects that we've done with the NCDOT Research Grant Program. We've spatialized UAS legislation by municipality. So a few years ago, we had a student develop a database of UAS legislation at the county and municipality level, where it was just an ArcGIS online map that students went and clicked on. And so what you'll be looking at today is just a map of the NCDOT research grant projects throughout the state of North Carolina. We've helped with the facilitation of the statewide metadata standard through training and outreach. So we worked previously with Sarah Ray, who's since left the NCDIT. We did some things with applying QA/QC procedures to measure the spatial accuracy of the LRS feature data set that you can download off of the NCDOT GIS website. But this is, to us, this is success. We've got some students who are working at the NCDOT right now. We got Nelson, and he was part of the NCDOT HBCU MSI internship program, and we've had some students that are part of the fellowship programs. So we have Nelson, who's working at the photogrammetry unit. Alex, he previously worked at the photogrammetry unit before taking a full-time position with the National Guard. Richie was a former student who took a position at Precision Hawk, and now he lives in the Pacific Northwest. And most recently, just the last couple months, Roderick took a position with working with Nelson at the photogrammetry unit. And these are all students that have had parts of the work with the NCDOT research assistantship program in the past. But our particular project right here, and we're working with John Kirby over at the NCDOT, is he wanted to make a map of where they funded research projects in the past. And so I can kind of read all of this, but kind of a quick summary is that there's about 500 of these, and there's sitting in a big Excel spreadsheet that's been exported, and he wanted to make a map of them to see who's being funded, who the PIs are, and all these other things. So what we wanted to do is we proposed to make a story map, and Mike kind of took off with this to make this a web experience so we can get clickable maps and pictures and field sites and affiliated field sites so we can run all the joins and the relates and on the back end of things so we can get a good idea as to what's being mapped, where it's being mapped, where work is being spent, and where basically our taxpayers' money is being spent. And this will be kind of the last thing I'll talk about, but when we looked at the original data set provided by John, we had about 500 records with about 26 different attributes. And so who wants to look at that? I don't. And so what we wanted to do and what Mike is going to talk about with the demo here is what we did to turn this into mappable, clickable maps so that it could be of use to not only us, but to the general public.
Right. So as Tim was just saying, that we inherited this, kind of large, unwieldy spreadsheet. First step here was developing a little Excel macro to just get the stuff we wanted. This all the information that was going to appear in the pop-ups or the things that seemed pertinent. NCDOT did provide another list or has give us data on field sites that they wanted to represent on the map. We also did some research in some of the projects to identify other sites and just use geocoding and Living Atlas to kind of set those up in the map. And right now, all the photos, all the media lives on our organizational RTS online. Another part of the next phase will be moving that over to NCDOT or however they want to host those. So yeah, and then we made a web map with these tables. We've had several meetings, kind of gotten feedback, gone back and forth. Basically have two layers here, looking at institutions, principal investigators, and then we have the field sites associated with those research projects, which are kind of more distributed across the state. One thing about mapping the institutions is that they're all the same address, all the same location. So we tried some different things to kind of make that make sense. There was a version where we had everything kind of clustered that was kind of helpful, but also you lose the unique symbols, and a place like NC State becomes gigantic, where places like Western Carolina are much smaller, just because the number of projects in Raleigh. So I know, and on the schedule, this does say story maps, which was the first template I kind of was looking at or inherited, was in story maps, the story maps classic. And so thinking about what we needed to do for this project, eventually built something in Experience Builder, which if anyone's used, probably a lot of people use that. It's really intuitive. There's a lot of cool functions, and it's really easy to hand that off to someone to update or to play around with later if they'd like to. So there's two parts, I guess. We kind of have a map-centric interaction and then kind of a data-centric interaction with some of the widgets. We'll look in the demo. And the final thing we wanted to do was give a way to relate the institutions with their associated field sites, so that you can peruse the field sites as soon as you're with like any of the projects if you're searching or in whatever way you're searching, so that you can we'll go through the demo, be clearer. Next steps here, we're going to add the 2023 projects field sites. Continue our QA/QC, and develops a metadata standard for the layers in this map, and be able to hand this off to NCDOT and have them update as necessary. Okay, so here's the map that we have now. So you've got various institutions, mostly universities, almost all North Carolina. There's a few in other states, 3 or 4, and a couple other research, like the USDOT is on here too, the Volpe Center. And then you have the field sites here. We added the filter widget here to kind of narrow the institutions so you can see just by year. Try to give people lots of different ways to interact with this. This is only really going to work on the desktop, but the map is still going to work mobile and tablet. It's a lot to cram in on a smaller screen, all these widgets. And then we have the list here of all the institutions, the projects by institution, by project title. You can search, sort or filter. The actions allow you to zoom to any project. And then let's say you wanted to look at this project, the field sites pop up in the featured widget to the right with photos, the pop-up information that DOT wanted to see. And you can see all of these different ones. And these are all for this project 2019-01 on roadside vegetation. Zoom to one. This one's at NC State, but if you want to look at the other ones, we can look at Castle Plain. And then we can zoom out and start over. So yeah, that's that's the demo. This is basically just giving you a way to find the information you're looking for, interact with it, and when there's not, I guess the other thing, when there's not a field site, it just kind of comes up with kind of instructions, kind of explaining kind of how that widget works. There's not most of them don't have field sites right now, but hopefully we'll continue to update that and add more information as we receive it from NCDOT. As well as more photos and any of the media and links they'd like to see. Yeah, and you can go back to the beginning. Any questions or comments or? Go ahead. Excuse me? Oh. This is, I believe this is when they were begun. And then the reporting period, like our reporting period is, I think, it ends in August. So usually, I think they're mostly like 2 years, most of the projects. To some extent, yeah, but that would be good to have that in there, but that wasn't something that was, I guess, asked for, but that would be a good function to see as they, maybe have them turn once they're completed. Because we do have information, but then we don't. Yeah, that'd be a good function, I think. Yeah. Oh, anyone? Yeah. Oh, nice. Not as of now. That's kind of outside the scope of this project, but I think that's interesting. Someone asked me a question at a different conference about funding. I know some of the other DOTs who have similar maps about not just research projects, but overall projects, like the funding is there. You can see like what's being spent, how much, for each project. So I think that would be interesting to add as well. That's not data we have, but I think that'd be interesting and engaging with people. Sir. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. So is your question where the training would come from for making maps like this? For people who might take the map next, or for people in the department, or um, oh, this was through North Carolina Central University. So oh, and sir. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those pop up. Yeah, I think that would be great. Some of those are uh, limited availability even on the DOT site. Not all the projects have the final deliverable, the report. The ones that do, I think that would be great. We try to let's see, we link to project details, which takes you to the DOT site, and so where available, you'll see, all these other documents. But it would be interesting to have a way to incorporate be able to see those right on the map rather than going back and forth. But we do try to link back up to the site, and this. At the front, there's a splash window where you can also kind of get to more details. And this just has that slide from earlier, explaining the project overall, or all the research program back in. But good question or comment, sir. I guess the width. I mean, I guess the classic story maps was more like this to me versus the new story maps are just moving towards a more immersive experience and has a lot of different elements kind of sliding through, which Experience Builder has those templates too. This was just, for me, the ease of use was part of it. It's really just, plug and play and then move our stuff around. And the widgets are intuitive and they work really well together. It's really easy to kind of jump in there and move stuff around and not have to, and there's so many other templates, but also not have to, because we aren't really building anything outside just this one page, So I guess that's why I opted, but there's probably a way to do it in story maps now as well. Oh, anyway. It's not live yet, but there's probably a way to share it with folks. This is just, yeah. I mean, I guess not like a. I mean, I guess all this stuff could be done on all these areas. I just was interested in what they're building out with Experience Builder, and wanted and we didn't need like. I guess this could be dashboard that's going to be updating all the time. This wasn't quite that at the time we were making this, but I think if you're going to have projects flipping from in progress to complete, or you want to have some other functionalities, a dashboard would probably be better, I think. And experience and web app also is, you can do a lot more in App Builder, I think, too. But to be able to hand this off to someone who maybe isn't doing GIS, I think Experience Builder is it's like making anything else in a way. It feels like once the map is in there and you kind of see, it feels like, anyone who has any kind of idea of what a web page can look like can use it versus some of the things that require just more. Oh, and yes. They're URLs, just added as media on the pop-ups. Those were given to us just in a spreadsheet as like JPEGs or whatever on a spreadsheet. So we had to find a way to host them or to put them somewhere that wasn't on a hard drive. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.